That has been the theory. Let's see this in action. In this demo, we will actually create all our RESTful routes and the controller with the appropriate actions, and we will group our routes and set up the required middleware. We will do this for all our API endpoints, of course. We will make sure that all our HTTP methods are supported, and of course, we will make sure that we meet the paths specified here. I'm here inside my Laravel project as we set it up in the very first module of this course. I will start with the creation of the routes, and I do this in the app folder, and here the HTTP folder, and then the routes.php file. I will get rid of all the content I see in here because this is just a default route Laravel ships with. If you have a look at our blueprint, you see that the meeting as well as the meeting/registration routes can be handled with the resource method on the route facade, since we need a couple of routes in both cases. With the only and accept configuration, we will control which routes we specifically want. However, for the two user routes, I will create those by hand, since they don't really meet the routes Laravel would create for us, and we only need these two routes anyway. So I'll start with the meeting routes. I start by using the route facade, and then of course the resource method to use Laravel's help of creating multiple routes for us. Then I will specify the path, which should be /meeting, therefore I type meeting here. The second argument will be the controller, which should handle the requests reaching these routes. This will be the meeting controller here. And of course, this controller doesn't exist yet, but we will create it once we're done setting up these routes. As a last argument, I will specify which routes I don't need. And as explained, this is done by using the accept keyword. And in this example, I won't need the edit and the create route, which would be used to get a form or a page which allows us to edit or create new resources, which we of course don't need in our RESTful service, where we won't use HTML pages. Next, I will set up the routes to register for a meeting, and for this I will only copy this, since it is pretty similar, but of course we don't have meeting, but we will have meeting registration, and this should be handled by the registration controller. Here I don't need the accept keyword, but I will use the only keyword to specify which routes I do want. In this case, the store route and the destroy route, so that I'm able to create and delete registrations. The last routes I will set up are the two user routes, which will be post routes. So this is the default way to create a post route with Laravel, and it will be /user to create a new user. And as configuration, I will pass the controller and controller action, which should take care about requests reaching this route, which will be the auth controller, and here the store method. And the second route will be the user sign in route, which should of course handle the sign in requests of our users. And this will also get a controller action assigned, which will also live in the auth controller, and I will use the sign in action. Now, if you have a look at the blueprint, we do have API/v1 in front of all our URLs. In order to set this up this way, I will store all my routes here inside a route group, which I set up using the group method on this route facade. Now I will group by prefix, so I use the prefix keyword here to then set the prefix I want to apply, API/v1 in this case. And as a second argument, I will have a closure which simply contains all the routes which should get this prefix. And in this case, this of course will be all routes.